and thank you for coming to this talk in our series on technology and privacy. Our speaker today is Casey Chan, who is an expert in the field. She is going to explain how some of the technology works and then talk about sensible steps you can take to protect your privacy when you use the internet. Casey?
Thank you. So, you've probably all had this experience. You're surfing the internet. Maybe you're looking for some new camera equipment. There is a new lens you really want, but it's kind of expensive. So you decide to put it off for a while. Maybe you'll be able to afford it next month. You move on. Later, you're reading an online newspaper or blog, and then bam! An ad for that lens you want flashes onto your screen. Kind of creepy, right? I mean, how did they do that? How do they know what you were looking at on a completely different website? Well, that's what I want to talk about today. What you experienced is called behavioral targeting. With every click, you create and expand an online profile of your desires, preferences, and behavior. Companies track your browsing activity and use it to send you advertisements that target you specifically. Their hope is that by understanding what you like and want, they can send you ads, which you are more likely to click, for products and services that you are more likely to buy. How did this all begin? Well, it actually started with you, the web user, in mind. Let's be honest. When a website tracks and remembers where you've been, it can be pretty useful, right? You start typing the name of a website you visited before in the search bar, and it automatically fills the rest of it in for you. Or, if you can't remember the name of the site, you can check your browsing history, and there it is. You don't want to fill in your information every time you visit a site? No problem. It's all saved for you when you come back. The primary tool that companies use to track and remember you is the cookie. A cookie is a small text file which is downloaded onto your browser when you visit a site. It saves information about what you do while you're on the site. Cookies were first developed when online retailers were looking for a way to make shopping easier for customers. You've probably all used an online shopping cart, right? Well, cookies are what make that cart possible. Without cookies, the cart could not collect the items you select. The site would forget them as soon as you left to go to a new page. But with cookies, you can even think it over and come back the next day. The items are still in your cart. So cookies are clearly useful. In general, cookies have made it possible to personalize the user experience in a way that makes searching and using the internet more efficient and satisfying. That's how cookies work within a single website. The creepy part starts when they cross over to other websites. Advertising companies that have hundreds of clients can connect cookies all across the web. For example, if you click on an ad when you visit a website, then another cookie is sent to your browser by the advertiser. This is sometimes called a third-party cookie. Now, every time you visit another site that has ads from the same company, the cookies can be traced back to you. As you surf and shop your way around the internet, these cookies eventually build a profile of your preferences and interests. It shows when and where you clicked and how long you spent on each page, all of which is very valuable information for companies that want to sell you services and products, like that camera lens. One final cookie issue that you should be aware of is that some cookies are transmitted over a secure network. That is, they are sent in a type of code. These are usually called secure cookies, and many retail sites use these. Non-secure cookies, in contrast, are vulnerable to theft. If someone grabs one of these during transmission, it can be used for the purpose of identity theft. Lots of sites you probably use, including social media sites, use non-secure cookies. I think more sites will probably move to secure cookies in the future, but for now, only about half of all websites use secure cookies. So now you know a little bit about how it all works. Maybe you're thinking you should stop using the internet altogether. Don't despair. I'm going to give you some advice about a few easy ways to manage and protect your privacy without going offline. Many of the tools you need are right there on your browser or are offered by individual websites. You just need to actively choose to use them. For example, you may be asked for your permission to let the browser know where you are and where you're going. You may be asked to turn on or enable your cookies. We get so many long and often complicated messages that we often just click yes or I agree because it's too much trouble to do anything else. If that describes you, then you need to become a more educated internet user and make more informed decisions. You should say no if you don't want that company to store information about you. Most browsers have a setting that allows you to disable cookies, preventing sites from collecting information on your web activities. But you may not want to disable this feature all the time, in which case you can simply delete your browsing history for the past week, month, year, or from the beginning of time, giving you some level of control over what information can be collected and stored. Most browsers also have an option that allows you to surf incognito, which means no information is collected on your activity. But remember, this means you will also get none of the benefits of that stored information. Finally, there are alternative browsers, ones which do not collect or store any data about users and their activities. If you take some of these steps, you will probably be okay, or at least less vulnerable. However, these cookies are just the first weapon in an online retailer's arsenal. There are other, more sophisticated methods for recording user activity, including ones that are more difficult for users to manage and control. Some tools, such as so-called flash cookies, also store information about you, but they are stored outside of your browser. And web beacons, tiny invisible graphics on web pages, can tell the server you're on a specific page, and these are not removed when you clear your cookies or browsing history. No doubt, tech privacy experts will soon catch up with these developments and find ways to counter them as well. To sum up, you can't control everything, but you can take charge of some aspects of your privacy and online identity. I hope that this talk has given you some useful information and tools. And remember, think before you click.